Hi, Jason. It's Tony Wright. Thanks again for your time on the phone last week, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to bid on your SEO work. We are excited about the opportunity of working with you guys. Just a little bit about this video. In this video, I've done a preliminary analysis of the website. Now, this is by no means comprehensive. This is nowhere near the detail that we'll get into in our program, but I did want to kind of give you a little bit of an idea of how we think as an agency and some of the things that we're seeing on the website. I also wanted to talk to you a little bit about the type of engagement that I'm proposing. I know we talked a little bit about this on the phone, but essentially we're looking at our strategic consulting agreement. The strategic consulting agreement is essentially a time and materials type of program where you guys agree to purchase a minimum number of hours of my team's time. In this case, we're looking at we're looking at 16 hours minimum, which would be right at a little over $2,500 a month. I believe it's $2,560 per month. And what we would do in that is we can basically do just about anything you need done, but we'll set priorities and goals at the beginning of each month. We would require a 3-month commitment, after which we would go to a 30-day written out where either party can cancel within 30 days. That makes your risk a little bit more minimal. But I think this is a good program, especially based upon the numbers that you gave me as far as how much you sell the product for. Essentially, it looks like if we can sell between 6 and 10 individual licenses a month and I think 4 corporate licenses a month, then this would get you a 3 times ROI. I don't know what your net cost is, but I would imagine that we're going to be somewhere in that range, and I think that's totally doable based upon what I'm seeing in our analysis. So now, one of the things I wanted to let you know also is that there should be never any surprises on your bill. However, we can look at 3 months and reevaluate, see if we either need to spend more money or less money. Our agency minimum is $2,000 a month, so we can't really go below that. But the 16 hours should give us what we need, and very rarely do I miss on these estimates. So with that, let's get into the analysis. We've done a small analysis utilizing the tool SEMrush, where we crawled 500 pages of the site. This tool gives us a lot of information. It's something we use quite a bit, but I'm only going to show you a couple of portions of the tool today. This is what we call the site audit, and obviously it's a very preliminary site audit. It's not nearly as comprehensive as we'll get into when we get into the program, but I wanted to show you this. The site has some issues from a coding standpoint, which is pretty common for sites that are built in multiple frameworks like yours is, and we'll see that that's going to be a problem down the road. We do need to talk about how to fix that, but 272 errors is way too many errors, and the errors are the most important thing that we're looking at. Those are the big items that need to be fixed. Now, obviously, you'll see we have 10,000 warnings. Some of those will need to be fixed. Some of them are not that big of a deal, but we'll have to go through and evaluate each one of those and see if it's worth fixing. But some really big top issues. We've got a page that's non-secure, meaning it's outside of your secure socket layer. That needs to be fixed immediately. That shows a trust signal to Google that's bad. We don't want Google to see pages that are not secure. But the same thing, in the same thing, we have 9 issues with mixed content. What mixed content means is that on some of your secure pages, you have at least 9 secure pages, you have elements that are non-secure, which is a big deal to Google, and we need to fix that immediately. The way the program works, the first 2 to 3 months, and we're going to be fixing all the technical items on the website. Once we have those fixed, we move to a more off-page link building type of stuff, which we'll get into in a minute. But in the initial portion, we've got to fix the foundation of your site. Now, typically, we do see a pretty significant increase in organic traffic and hopefully leads just by fixing the stuff on your website. And based upon some of the issues that you have with the site, I think that we're going to be able to see some really good improvements. But I wanted to just kind of show you a couple of these other issues. You've got duplicate title tags. We have 65 broken links, duplicate content issues, duplicate meta descriptions. I mean, you can see all of these issues. 400 status codes. Those means are broken pages, basically 10 broken pages. Of course, we talked about the mixed content and the secure issues. And those are all some things that we need to take a look at and fix. When we were on the phone, we talked about keywords, and I understood that you have some concerns that folks that are not familiar with the academia terms, as well as the terms for your product, may not be able to find the right keywords. I just wanted to show you, this is one of the tools we use, and I'm not sure exactly how valuable those keywords are, but we're going to need to work with you to make sure we have the right keywords. But as you can see, we're looking at each of these are words that you are actually ranking for right now, and how you've changed over the last few months. I mean, you could see, and it's GAUSS Gauss. I know that that's a term that you guys use, but you're not ranking very high for it. You're sitting at number 7. And only getting about 484 visits from it, whereas it's 38% of your traffic. But there are 12,100 searches for it according to Google, so it's a significant keyword. If we could move you guys up for that particular keyword, you could potentially see significant amount of traffic, and it's because this is I'm assuming a very relevant keyword to the product. We should be able to see some conversions based upon that. But you can kind of go through these, and I could send you this whole list if you're interested in looking at these keywords. And we would obviously go through each one of them, determining the relevancy and scoring them, and getting them to where getting the keyword list to something that you were comfortable with. And also looking for keyword. We also have some tools like the keyword gap tool, where we can look at your competitors versus you and see where they're ranking versus you are, and make some really good keyword recommendations. Google provides us with some tools to check out how fast a page is loading. And what I've done here is run a quick analysis utilizing Google's tool. You can go and look at this tool yourself. If you just go to Google and type in Google Page Speed Insights, and you can run this report yourself. And this is right here, I'm showing desktop, you can see. And you have a score of 49, which is it's not extremely low, but it's pretty low for a site that's in an industry that's as competitive as yours. Now, obviously, you're not the most competitive, but you still have competition. 49 is way too slow. And I'm going to show you something even worse in just a second. But there are a lot of things we can do to fix this. You don't need to get into the details of that unless you just really want to get in the weeds, but this is something that we'll fix in the first month. This will be one of the very first things that we will work to fix. The biggest challenge we're going to have is because you have multiple platforms on the site, we will need to figure out exactly which way we're going to go from an architecture standpoint, and then fix accordingly. But the bigger issue here is not on your desktop, it's on your mobile. Now, we'll see, and we get into analytics, you've only got about 15% of your site traffic coming from mobile right now, and that is pretty common within your demographic. However, it is growing, and we have seen an increase in mobile traffic over the last few months, and especially the last year. It's something that you need to really worry about. One other reason, even if you weren't getting any mobile traffic, is Google has put into place what they call mobile first indexing. Mobile first indexing looks at how your site renders in a mobile platform to determine how relevant it is for ranking. So we definitely need to fix this. This will be probably the very first thing we would fix in the program. A 16 is an abysmal score. That means this site is loading very, very slow. I mean, it's probably taking well over a second to load, if not more. And there are lots of reasons why that. Google gives us some of these. You don't need to get into what these are, but essentially we're going to have to fix this immediately. The quality and quantity of backlinks pointing to your site is what really makes you rank, and the ability to provide quality backlinks is what separates a good SEO from a great SEO. Now, this is not what we will be working on right out of the bat. We need to get the foundation and the technical stuff fixed, but I wanted to show you, this is from Moz, one of my favorite tools. This is going to show us how many links you have pointing to your site, and essentially some metrics that Moz gives us, like this is called domain authority. Domain authority is basically, it's a Moz metric. It's not a Google metric, but it tells us relatively how strong your domain is compared to basically everyone else on the web. You guys are at a 36, which is okay, but barely okay. It's not where you need to be. And one of the things that really kind of blows me away is that you have 1,100 domains linking to you and 479,000 links. That's a ton of links, especially to only have a 36. And we can see over time, since February 8th, you have gained one link. But if we look at it over time, you remain pretty much the same, although there did seem to be a jump in July of 2018 to 2019. I'm not sure if that's a Moz anomaly or if something actually happened, but essentially you guys have stayed almost the same. Now we can go in and look at the links on each page. I'm not going to do that right now. We can also look at your competitors' links and look and see a gap between who you have versus who they have, and work to get those. And obviously we have a lot of tactics for building links, and I encourage you to go read my columns in Search Engine Journal to understand what those are. But as far as I wanted to look at here, show you this real quick. You have a spam score that makes me a little bit worried. There are about 13% of your links are what we would consider toxic or mildly toxic. 4.3% are absolutely toxic. We need to look and see if these links need to be disavowed. I don't think this is enough to cause you to have any sort of manual penalty, but we don't want to take any chances. And I'm not a huge fan of disavowing everything. Google says not to, but we do need to see if there's any big issues. And in our preliminary analysis, that type of analysis, that link analysis, takes about 5 to 7 hours. So we'll need to, especially on as many links as you have, it may even take longer than that. So we will need to set aside some time to do that. But this would all happen probably starting in month 3. We'd start the link building process, maybe month 4 if you guys, it depends on how fast we can get the technical stuff done. Taking a quick hop into your analytics, I want to show you just a few things. I'm looking at the period from the beginning of this year until basically yesterday from when I'm doing this video. But this is kind of what we're seeing as far as organic traffic goes. You may have seen these numbers, but you can see 62% of your traffic overall is coming from Google Organic. And considering you're not really focusing that much on your SEO, that's probably a little bit disconcerting, especially when we start looking at these types of things. You've got a 72% of the folks that are coming in through Google Organic are leaving the site. Now we have some pretty decent stuff going on here, but one of the biggest problems, goals. We don't have any goals set up. I don't know exactly what we're trying to get the visitor to do once they get to the site, and obviously that would be to fill out a lead form, sign up for a newsletter, etc. But it's really hard to tell how well you're actually doing without having these goals set up. So we need to get those goals set up. One of the first things we'll do, and I said, along with the page speed, but this is an initial item, is to get your Google Analytics set up in in a proper way. And I'm not going to go too much more into analytics because without the goals set up, there's not a whole lot of analysis I can do that's going to be meaningful. But we will be setting up the goals. We'll be setting up your analytics. You can kind of see, I just click through here real quick. Takes just a second. But you can kind of see here just in Google what we're looking at as far as bounce rate and all of these sorts of things. 72% is basically the same, but we do need to get that fixed. jump into your website really quickly. Now, we're not going to perform an in-depth conversion rate optimization program for you. That's if we want to do that, which is something I do encourage you to do. We have partners that have tools that we don't have, but we can do the basics. And usually we see an increase in conversions for our clients, typically about 30%. So we can definitely do some things to make it so that when visitors are coming in, they are actually converting. Obviously, if we're not getting people to convert, then we're just wasting time and money. But I wanted to talk real quick, just a few things I see on this website at first blush. We have what we call BABS, and excuse my language, but we call BABS big ass banner syndrome. We have a giant banner here that's really not telling me much. These graphs don't tell me anything. They're not going to help anyone convert. Also, we don't have an easy way above the fold to really get a hold of you. You've got these calls to action, the start free trial and request pricing. I want to look in and put some heat mapping software on the site to see if you need both of those or how well each one of those are converting, because we also have another button down here, see all the new features. And we really need a phone number up here at the top. I would prefer to have a form that someone can fill out here, as opposed to having the start free trial or request pricing there. We've got some good content on here from an SEO standpoint. That's definitely something we want to have. We've just got a lot of buttons, a lot of things that can really distract someone from where they're trying to go. There's probably a little bit better way to lay this stuff out in a way that is more friendly to conversions. So that's all I'm going to say on the website, but needless to say, when we get in, we will be looking at this will be data driven, not just my opinion based upon my experience, because I will tell you, I've been doing this for 20 years and I'm many times more often wrong than right on what's going to actually make the difference, and that's why we depend upon the data, especially from heat mapping software and analytics, to tell us what works and what doesn't. But we can definitely go in and look at these things and make some preliminary changes and increase your conversion rate. So thanks for watching this video. I know it's a little bit long, but hopefully it's given you some insight into how we think and some of the things that we'll be able to do for you. I am confident that we can show you some incredible results and exceed your expectations. We'd love to work with you, and if you have any questions at all about this proposal or this video or anything I've talked about, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to go over these things in person with you, and we look forward to the opportunity to work with you. Thank you very much.